Agreed to, and I call the honourable member for Goldstein.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I'd like to commence by also thanking the member for Fadden for bringing this motion forward for the parliament to consider, because there is never enough opportunity to be able to stand in this place and restate our commitment, our support to, as the former member in his previous speech referred to, as not just an ally but as a friend. And I share that sentiment resolutely. Today we acknowledge the 70th anniversary of the rebirth of the modern state of Israel, and of course also the 80th anniversary of the conference at Evian-les-Bains on the plight of the Jewish people and refugees as a consequence of the lead-up to the Second World War. Now, one of the things, Deputy Speaker, that I'm most proud of in the Goldstein electorate is not just that the electorate is named after a woman, a suffragette, and a Jewish one at that, but that I am also proud to represent one of Melbourne and Australia's largest Jewish communities, and particularly because of the migration waves of South African and Russian Jewish people who live in the electorate of Goldstein, particularly towards the northern parts of the electorate, as well as many other people of European Jewry in parts of Brighton. What the Jewish community does is enriches the Goldstein community as well as Melbourne, as well as Australia. And every day I'm reminded of that in engaging with the Jewish community, who are full participants in our community and support each other. In fact, only the last week I was at the UIA dinner in Melbourne and with Dennis Prager, who from the United States, a radio talk show host who'd come out to speak at the event to celebrate in particular the way that the Jewish people support each other as well as the communities that surround them. And of course, none of that is more critical than our need to support them in return. And that's why, as the previous speaker noted, Israel is not just an ally of Australia, as well as our allies like the United States. It is a friend, and it's an enduring friendship which we should all be proud of. Now, our relationship with Israel is built very much and very clearly on strong foundations of mutual and shared values, of our mutual commitment to democracy around the world and, of course, within our own countries. It's a commitment built on anchoring of the rights of the individual to live their life, to be free to pursue their life, their opportunity and their enterprise, and a commitment to human rights and human progress as the foundations of our nation and what we seek to aspire and achieve together. And we know the rich history of Israel and its modern state. It is a nation that has taken sand and tradition and turned it into a modern state of culture, of progress, of economic opportunity, and as a beacon for the light of the world. And the people of Israel should be enormously proud of what they have achieved and what they have succeeded in delivering together. But we should never lose sight of the fact that there are always those with causes who want to delegitimise the state of Israel in its current form. And we see this emerge in our country and others around boycott, divestment and sanction programs, efforts to political movements, to efforts to create moral equivalence about the state of Israel and its place in the world. And I want to make it clear, Deputy Speaker, that there is no moral equivalence in my mind. There is no preparedness to turn a blind eye and to suggest that we should not truly value the important role of Israel as the home state for the Jewish people. And particularly I want to stand up and speak out always against the efforts to delegitimise the state of Israel through the United Nations, where some countries want not just to continue the stigmatisation of the Jewish people, but to sever its connection to its homeland. And we've seen this in resolutions, particularly in the past couple of years, to try and sever the connection between the Jewish people and the Temple Mount. Deputy Speaker, or Speaker, the tragedy of the Holocaust, of course, was the human genocide that occurred and the millions of people who died and were displaced and treated in the most appalling conditions. But we should never underestimate that part of the objective of the Holocaust was not just a human genocide, but a cultural genocide as well. And when we see international bodies moving motions or resolutions to try and continue to sever those relationships between culture and tradition and homeland and state, we continue that cultural genocide. We must stand proud, we must stand clear against these efforts, and we must do it in celebration of the 70th anniversary of the rebirth of the State of Israel.